Hello, I'm Marcia Masters. I work for an organization called Economics Arkansas. Our goal is to help teachers and students around the state as we begin to teach great decision-making skills and tools that will help you with simple decisions to very complex decisions. Decisions related to things you do every day, to how you manage your money, and to choices about your future. We're really excited to be a part of One Rock, One Book and Billy Shore Kid Entrepreneur Book series. It's been fun reading along these first 8 chapters, and now we're ready for chapter 9, and I get the privilege of sharing that chapter with you. In chapter 1, we learned about Billy and Manny, and we found out how they both had special skills, talents, and abilities that made them perfect to be business partners. In this chapter, there is a problem, and Manny has to develop a plan. So join me as we read chapter 9, Manny with a Plan. That night, I sleep better than I have in weeks. At breakfast, Emily says, "Not that I really want to, but do you need me to look at more of those stupid videos? I mean, I could use the money." "For what? Did they get a new shipment of clothes at Goths R Us?" I ask as I eat my bowl of cereal. Luckily, Dad hasn't turned his gourmet ambitions to breakfast yet. He likes to paint early in the morning. He says he loves the light. "Ha ha," Emily said. "Hilarious, genius. So do you need your vice president again or what?" "Not right now," I answer. "We've got more on our plate than we can handle. The last thing we need is another next big thing. But I guess eventually we'll have to get back to the videos. They keep coming in." She looks disappointed for a second, but her face quickly slides back into her who cares mode. "Okay, whatever," she says, getting up from the table. "There's always asking Dad for money. I think I'll ask him right now. Here's a little tip from your big sister. When he's painting, Dad'll say yes to just about anything so he can get right back to his work." Like I didn't already know that. How does she think I got permission to get Philo in the first place? My school day really isn't that bad. Having gotten some decent sleep really helps me make the day better. Plus, no one asked me to lend them money or teach their class or give an inspirational speech. I hand out a couple of next big thing cards, but by now, most of the kids at Fillmore Middle School who have ideas about inventions have already gotten cards. One of the kids I give a card to is a short 6th grader. His invention idea is underpants that secretly make you strong like a superhero. Since I'm not feeling like a zombie today, I actually smile and encourage him to keep working on it. "Make a video and send it in," I say. "I will," he says. He takes the card and runs off. When he gets to the end of the hall, he sticks his arms out like he's flying. When I stop back home before going to the office, I pick up Philo. As usual, he's thrilled to see me. Philo seems to be in a rush to get to the office. Maybe he's hoping for some pizza. He's really pulling on the leash, so we start running. Philo practically drags me all the way to Manny's house. "Hey," I say as I enter the office, "how's it going? How are the latest sales figures?" "Oh, I haven't checked," Manny said. "Well, that's unusual." "I've been too busy thinking about your problem, the blueprint mystery, and I think I've come up with a way to solve it." I take off Philo's leash and hang it on a hook. He does a quick sniff around and then settles into his bed of the corner. I toss him a treat from a jar we keep at the office. "Great," I tell Manny. Manny dispenses himself an orange lime cola and takes a drink, and then he says, "Okay, here's what I'm thinking." He walks over to a dry erase board mounted to the garage door. He sets his drink on the table and picks up a marker. "Some nice person left you the blueprints for the all ball," he says, drawing a smiling face on the whiteboard. "Let's call them X." He writes a big X above the face. "Hi, X," I say. Manny continues. "Person X obviously wanted to help you. He or she likes you, maybe even loves you." He draws a heart on the board. "So I'm guessing that if that person sees you really worried about another invention, they'll want to help you again." Manny says, drawing a worried face with a frownish mouth and eyebrows pointing up. "That's just logical." "Another invention? You mean like the sibling silencer?" "Exactly," Manny said. So he writes SibSil on the board. "Have you been talking to your family about your struggles?" I think about it and I shake my head. No, I guess Dad and Emily might have noticed me working late in my room, but I haven't said anything about it. While I'm working on it, I don't want Dad to worry. Emily probably knows we picked the sibling silencer since I've tested on her a couple of times, but I doubt she knows I'm worried about it or cares. Manny smiles. "I think it's time to lay out the bait and let them know you're worried. Manny, Philo, and I walk into the house just in time for dinner. What's that smell? Manny whispers, looking scared. Dad's in the kitchen cooking. Don't worry, I reassure Manny. It will be okay. Remember, you're doing this for the good of Sure Things Inc. The company's very existence may depend on your ability to eat my dad's cooking. Manny still looks scared, but I don't know if I can. If it's really bad, I whisper, just suck on the ice cubes in your drink before you take a bite. The cold helps kill the taste. Can't I just sneak my food to Philo? Manny asked. I thought that's what dogs were for. They're like garbage disposals with legs. Shake my head. When Dad's cooking, Philo steers clear of the kitchen. Manny sniffs the air. Smart dog. Hey, Dad, I say as we walk into the kitchen. Is it okay if Manny stays for dinner? Dad looks up from chopping something that resembles a brain. Of course, we got plenty. Manny, you can tell me what you think of my latest creation. What are you making? Manny asked, trying to erase all fear from his face. Mac and cheese, Dad says. Manny breathes a sigh of release. With garlic and cauliflower, Dad continues. Wow, my two favorites, Manny said. I always ask for them on my birthday instead of a cake. Well, isn't that lucky? Dad cries, not picking up on Manny's sarcasm. I'll have to give you an extra big portion. The blood drains from Manny's face. Since Manny's here, we eat in the dining room instead of the breakfast nook. Dad even gets out the nicer plates and the real glasses instead of the plastic ones. Are we celebrating something? Emily asked, puzzled. Sure, why not? Let's celebrate the success of the All Ball and Sure Things Inc. We've been so busy that we haven't really taken the time to celebrate together. As we push the food around on our plates, holding ice cubes in our mouth, Manny and I exchange a look. Dad's just given us a good cue to put our plan into action. Thanks, Dad, I say, taking a bite of the mutant mac and cheese and then quickly spitting it into my napkin. But actually, to tell you the truth, things are not going all that smoothly at Sure Things Inc. Dad stops eating to look at me, concerned. Really? What's the matter? Is one of the big sports equipment companies giving you trouble? They're probably not too happy having 5 of their products replaced by 1 of yours. But that's business, competitive. As an artist, Dad basically knows one thing about business. It's competitive. He says that's why he never wanted to go into business. But from what I've seen, art is incredibly competitive too, maybe even more than business. No, I say, it's not that. It's the new product we're working on, our next big thing. I help them find it, Emily volunteers in a smug voice. I'm their DUMB vice president. Dad gives Emily a look. He doesn't know that Emily uses the DUMB system. That's not a very nice thing to call yourself. Manny says the stuff we decided he'd say. He actually insisted on writing it down and memorizing it. You see, Mr. Sure, please, Manny, Dad interrupts. Call me Brian. Oh, okay. Brian, Manny says a little awkwardly. Anyway, developing a new product is very challenging. Billy's got to solve a lot of problems and get everything just right. And unfortunately, I put some extra pressure on him. We explain about the deadline for the sibling silencer and how we have to have it ready for in time to demonstrate it on the national morning news show. I don't care when you have to have it ready, Emily said. You're not testing it on me again. She turns to Dad. Billy tested it on me, Dad, like I was some kind of like a lab rat or something. Billy, stop using your sister as a lab rat. Dad says to me automatically, so you're worried about inventing the sibling silencer thing in time, meeting your deadline? I nod a little too vigorously. Exactly. So worried. So very worried. So very, very worried. Emily shoots me a look. And so very, very weird. I ignore her. In fact, I'm so worried that I don't think I'll be able to finish my dinner. Dad looks a little crestfallen. Oh dear. Then he perks up. Still, that just means more for you, Manny. He ladles another big helping onto Manny's plate. After dinner, Manny comes to my room. How do you think it went? I asked. Eating that dinner made me never want to eat again, Manny groans, clutching his stomach. I didn't mean the food. I mean, our plan, do you think they got the message that I'm worried about inventing the sibling silencer? Manny nods, smiling a little. I think so. I think they picked up on your subtle hint. I'm so worried. So very, very worried. I hold up my hands. Okay, so I may have overdone it a little or a lot. The important thing now is that my dad and Emily both know I'm worried. So if either one of them slipped me the blueprints for the all ball, they might do it again for the sibling silencer. What about your mom? Should you send her a worried email? I've been thinking about that. No, because she's on the other side of the planet probably. So even if she wanted to help me out, she couldn't just fly home and sneak some blueprints onto my desk. So now what? Manny jumped up enthusiastically and walked over to my dry erase board. He picks up a blue marker. Okay, he says, we've laid out the bait. Now we just have to set the trap. For good measure, he writes trap on the whiteboard. What are we trying to catch exactly? I asked. All this talk of bait and traps has got me a little confused. For a genius, you can be kind of an idiot, Manny said in a friendly voice. We're just trying to catch whoever put the all ball blueprints on your desk. Let's call him or her the anti-thief. He tries to draw a rolled up set of blueprints on the board, but they end up kind of looking like a burrito, which I could go for about right now. Are we thinking about some kind of cage that drops down from the ceiling? I asked. Manny thinks for a minute, tapping on the whiteboard with his marker, leaving a little blue marks. As much as I like the idea of a cage, I think it presents several problems. One, how would we hang it in your room so the anti-thief wouldn't notice? Unless it was an invisible cage, like a force field of some kind, I suggest. We seem to keep coming back to force fields, but we have to admit they don't actually exist, Manny points out. True, and we don't have time to invent one. Right. Let's put force fields on hold for now, Manny agrees. So when we say trap, we don't necessarily mean a cage. We just mean some kind of alarm that goes off, waking you up so you can catch the anti-thief red-handed. To indicate the alarm, Manny draws a bell on the board. An alarm sounds good to me, I said, getting up and walking over to pet Philo. It's pretty simple to rig up alarms that get tripped by someone knocking into or stepping on something. Like a booby trap. If someone is trying to leave blueprints for the sibling silencer on my desk and unknowingly steps on a piece of string, an alarm goes off. I draw a simple diagram on the dry erase board. We'll attach one end onto a piece of string to my desk and the other end to an alarm, but make sure it's low enough so that the anti-thief doesn't trip on the string, but tight enough so that if you step on the string, you trip the alarm. We can plan a few of these so that the anti-thief is sure to step on one. It doesn't take us long to put together an alarm system with stuff I have in my bedroom. There, I say, stepping back to admire our work. If someone tries to put another set of plans on my desk in the middle of the night, I'll know it right away. Let's hope they do, Manny says, crossing his fingers. We really need those plans. So what do you think about the way that Manny is solving the problem in this chapter? I'm going to challenge you to design your own trap for the anti-thief. Will it look like Manny's and Billy's or totally different? Happy reading as you continue on with Billy Shirk.